Children of this beloved nation, live with you all today. You are for the privilege to allow us to live our lives to the fullest. Some of us may have hidden problems and struggles. We suffer silently every day. Need to be heard and supported. These are God's and our.
Cosa non modo c'è la musica na vision and mission. Okay, I'll just go through it. 32 seconds, 33, 34. It's almost 1 minute. Ladies and gentlemen, Team Patsala Todoko, the team Vanessa, Maria, Etuate, Komang, Sanjay, Monita, Nembuka, and Chope. The ministry's vision, quality education for change, peace and progress. Our mission to provide a holistic and empowering education system that enables all children to realize and appreciate fully their inheritance and potential contribution to a peaceful and sustainable national development. Our HR division's vision and mission, excellent deliveries for quality service, and to improve the systems and processes for better work satisfaction. Our quality circles guiding principles, student first and foremost, teacher empathy, improvement driven and fact-based decision. Our project team. Our project team is derived from our vision and mission of the ministry through our division's vision and mission, and our quality circles guiding principles. And our project theme is ensuring there is a teacher in every school staffing establishment. Before we go on to our project, we'd like to talk about our ministry, its sheer magnitude, the fact that we are the largest employer in the nation with 14,000 staff. Now, how does that impact us? For our HR division, this means 880 transfers requests to date, 210 maternities relievers to date in 2019 alone. Now that translates to 916 total transfers that have been processed to date. From teacher placements to contract renewals to teacher transfers and acting appointments, we do it all. Project selection, how did we select our projects? We selected our projects through brainstorming, a list of ideas of the possible issues that were affecting the department. We took these problems and we put them in a ranking matrix. We ranked them from the most important to the least important. And because there were so many problems, we decided to categorize them so that we could then use a decision matrix to come up with the focus areas that we needed to address. And the category that we actually picked was transfers and placement. Because according to our criteria of circle of influence, impact on students, ease of implementation and data availability, 3 of those areas were ranked high. One of the issues we also faced was we could not put a finger on what was it that was hurting us in terms of all the issues that we raised. So we decided to do a Venn diagram, a tool that's used a lot in the medical industry, where you use your causes and your measures to drive towards a possible symptom. So we put our causes in place and we put in our measures for each of our issues. And one of the things that kept on popping up was the number of days in delays. So that derived our symptom or the backlog of teacher requests. So our problem statement, the backlog of teacher requests. We came up with our Gantt chart, and then if you'll notice that most QCCs take an entire year. For us, our advisor did not join us until May, so when he came in and he saw our issues, he decided, and we discussed with us, and he thought that quality circles would be a useful tool to get the team involved in sorting out our issues. So our QCC began in May, and here we are in October delivering the QCC project to you. We used OneNote for our project documentation. Well, not only is it digitally ready, it's also for transparency purposes, because once we log in a particular date or open a folder, it registers that particular date. So we cannot fabricate any information or fabricate when a date or a meeting was supposed to be held. Current situation, one of the issues that we decided to do was to actually map the current process from receiving request to assessing the request, to processing the request, to approvals, all the way to notifying and placing the teacher. Role play before. Hello, hello, madam. Yes, madam. Thank you, madam. Yes, madam. Definitely, madam. Nimbuka, madam is asking for a list of all head teachers, and she wants a top 15 by length of service and the placements that he's had. Nimbuka, Eddie, do you have a list of head teachers? No, I'm busy. I've got so many issues that I've got to deal. Monitor, I've got a lot of maternity relievers that I've got to take care of. Man, how am I going to do this? How many 700 primary schools? I have to look individually, and then I don't think whether I can do it. This is just impossible. And I've got my head of departments that I've got to do. Dang. The present situation. You can see that what you see in front of you was a very unstable and incapable process. So the first thing we needed to do was to bring the process under control. So we did a fishbone diagram. The backlog of teachers being the effect, and the 4 M's: method, man, machine, material, and environment. When you look at the fishbone diagram, the 2 areas where became very, very obvious was method and men. We could apply the 5 whys, and we noticed that there were a lot of issues that were being highlighted that were causing these 2 issues. So we decided to apply our solutions. And our solutions, we didn't come up with a particular methodology of doing. We just looked at the problems, looked at the fishbone diagram, and threw ideas at each of those major bones on how we could resolve it. So what we did next was we took all those major solutions, we compiled a matrix, and we wanted to see what were some of the solutions that were within our control and what would have been in management control. The first one was a call center. Call center is something we've been talking about, but it's definitely a management decision. Electronic forms, it's something that we could do, but it would require IT to actually develop forms and implement it in the system, which would take time. One of the other things was to have an automated warning system. We could do it through the FESA program in programming, but this is one of the things that we could implement ourselves. So we applied that same system to all of our matrices, and then when we looked at the solutions, we felt that some of these solutions we could actually amend it or adjust it and suit ourselves. One of the biggest one I think that we did do was the call center. We knew that we could not implement one, but if we got a Neki Atechi to aid in the serving of customers and requesting of registering of requests, that would actually be the call center for us. So we put it into a solution matrix, and then we decided to implement all of the solutions, but tailor-made it to the need of the department. Solution number 1: I am the Neki Atechi. To address all counter visits and register all teacher requests, I generate the weekly dashboard for monitoring and evaluation for team and management. The Neki Atechi, one of the things that he did was to do our weekly dashboard, which you see here, and from the first 2 weeks, you can notice that from a 5% efficiency, we improved to 14%, from 24% efficiency in terms of a processing rate to 36%. Now, we've now stabilized the process. We have a process that is stable. We needed now to make it capable. What does that mean? So after 2 weeks of monitoring, we had achieved the process, the efficiency that I had mentioned to you. Now we needed to make it capable. Now you need to understand that the first stages of improvement can be misleading because you've just stabilized the process. Sometimes the improvements are quite high. And what we needed to realize that because of this, we need to be very careful with our target setting. So our target setting, after looking at the first 2 weeks of performance, we decided to set our processing rate at 75%, which is how efficiently we work internally, and the closing rate, the rate at which we close our request, it's the rate at which we place teachers in classrooms. Solution implementation. Aside from the implementation of solution 1, we implemented the traffic light system, which basically warns us of the impending dates of an event. So if you're looking at contract renewals, it'll tell you within a month or 2 months beforehand that something is pending. If it was for maternity, or not maternity relievers, if it was for retirement, it would tell you a month or 2 months in advance when the retirement was happening, so you could prepare for it. Solution number 3, analysis, training, and stakeholder involvement. One of the things we did was we implemented was a change management matrix, and when you notice that when we did our change management for the team, I'm not doing this very well. I'll have to revisit this. We noticed that desire was very strong. So the desire for the team to change and accept this new concept of a process improvement was high, but they lacked the knowledge and the ability. So upskilling and training was required. Competency, so the next stage, once we knew that competency had to be developed, we needed to see the type of competencies they had. So we assessed the competencies in 4 particular areas: data analytics, report writing, project management, and in process and systems. And if you look at the graph in front of you, you'll see that in data analytics and in processes, there's a lot of weaknesses there, from no knowledge to fundamental awareness, basic knowledge to limited experience. So those were the 2 areas that we were going to focus on, our process and systems and in data analytics. So there was a training of Monitor and Maria on filtering and Samuels in terms of data analytics, and the training of Komal on the traffic light system. Solution number 4, new equipment. Our advisors donated some equipment for us to use: a 32-inch TV screen for dashboard and meetings, and a Z220 server for data analytics. Don't worry about it, just talk about it. The 5th solution was our standard operating procedure. A transfer framework was developed, templates designed to manually capture minimal information, and then you automatically pull from the data dump that existed from our server. The role play after. Role play after. Hello? Yes, madam. Yes, madam. Yes, madam. Yes, sure. Hey, Nimbuka. Madam wants this to happen, and she needs a list of head teachers, and she wants the top 15, so it's a repeat repetition. So Nimbuka turns to the team. Monitor. Eddie, can I... Mana saya okay, never mind. Alright, so he switches to me, so I just open FESA dump, open FESA, check sheets. I have 300,000 lines to select from. I'm just going to now select for teachers, for head of schools between 2019 and 2023. Copy that, paste it onto a new sheet. Okay, then I'm going to delete the the data dump. I'm now going to select head of teachers only, so I can see only head teachers. Copy that, paste that onto a new sheet. Geez, a little slow. I'm faster than that. And then I'm going to delete the original file. Now I'm going to look at select all the teacher TPAFs, and I'm going to select only the unique TPAF number. I didn't do that very well, I should have talked too soon. Copy all the TPAF files, save that onto a sheet. And now I'm going to connect to our remote server for data analysis server. I'm going to type in the code, accessing server now. Server is now activated. I'm opening folders on the server. I'm now transferring my file that I want to analyze onto the server. Minimize my folder here on my laptop. I'm going to now maximize the screen to the server, and I open the server file, the head of departments file, put in the required information that I need. Now I'm going to index it, so the file is now indexed. I'll clean it up, I'll save it back onto the server once it's done, and now I'm going to transfer it back to my laptop through the remote connection. It's now transferring. Transfer is now complete. I'm now going to open the file to verify that it is the file that I was working on. There it is, and then I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. Now it is clean, and I'm going to save it. And here you go. Choppy, can you just take this file and send it up to Madam? Done. PDCA check. We now had a competent process. And in the tangible rights evaluated, we achieved 70% processing rate and 43% completion rate, for an increase of 49% and 38% respectively from 24% processing rate and 5% completion rate. We did fall short of our targets by 5% and 7%. We will talk about that later. The reason being is that if you look at it, one of the problems that we have, the challenges that we have, is our secondary school because of the subject matching. And if you notice, both of the other schools, we were able to achieve our target in terms of a processing rate, but secondary really pulled us down. So it's one of the reasons why we did not achieve our target. But when you think of it, we put 101 teachers in school in 6 weeks. That's 35 more teachers if we were operating at week 2 performance. If we were working at operating at week 1 performance without QCC, we wouldn't have put 65 more teachers in the classroom. That is about 825 to 1,625 students. These are not just numbers. You need to take into context the location of the school type, the environmental factors that are affecting the school, and students and their teachers. Be very emotional on this one. You guys don't know. It's about the children, man. Sell it. This is what I sell it here. Alright? Tangible results evaluated. Reduction of data mining. For us, when we used to do data mining, it used to take days to come up with reports. But with the new server system that we have, we went from days to hours to minutes. Here is an email on the launch of our server that we're able to process the indexing of the head of teachers, head of schools that we just demonstrated to you. PDCA Act. We did standardize one of our procedures, and that was the transfer process, which you see in front of you. Standardizing of the transfer process. This is the email that was sent from our advisor after discussing with us. So in preparation of the circular, this was done on the 23rd of July, and on the 30th of July, a circular was sent out by a permanent secretary to the schools concerning the transfer process, and this was derived from the QCC process. Our future project, contract renewals. The reason why we chose contract renewals, because if you look at our decision matrix, it's the one that has 2 highs in impact on students and that availability, and it also has mediums, whereas in technology, although it has highs, it's got lows. Right? I can explain that. We'll talk about it. I'm just trying. And then monitor. COMALS, that's now you can say, valid contract, early termination, blah 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 blah. And only take 10 seconds because I move the slide. So FESA report before and after. And then I'm kind of moving through this. And after that, we would like to thank the Permanent Secretary for supporting our project, enabling us to present to you today, our Head of HR for championing our project, our Business Process Improvement Specialist for helping us with our projects, the NCQ Secretariat for ensuring we align to the QCC guidelines, and of course, the team. Prepare the team for take-off checklist, check sheet. Okay. Check sheet, not used. Control chart, stratification, used. Parameter chart, histogram, used. Cause and effect diagram, scatter diagram, not used. Ranking, used. Decision matrix, used. Venn diagram, used. Bar graph, used. Pie chart, used. Establishment crew, please prepare the cabin for takeoff. And we're ready to Ministry for takeoff. Takeoff. So we're just gonna need to work on that. So as soon as it takes off, we start that. So as soon as that finishes, we'll have to merge it. So take off. As soon as you take off, you guys don't wait for this. So we finish with this.